I believe this is where we fire this baby up. When I received the news that they were going to do an animated film, we're very much relieved that it's still in Joseph Michael Straczynski's hands. I couldn't possibly be more excited.
I get to play Ivanova again. That's the most exciting thing for me, to revisit that beloved character that means so much to me.
Sheridan to Ivanova. We've got a situation.
It's a completely new, creative move forward.
It gives us some of the very best aspects of the original series.
We're not alone.
It's a big, epic, feature-length adventure.
I can't think of a better way to revisit Babylon 5.
For me, a chance to do this animated show would give us the range and let us do really big set pieces that you can never do in live action, but at the same time explore intimate emotional questions.
I have so many questions. And that is the glory and wonder of mortality. It's happening again. You are moving between timelines, universes, realities. Joseph Michael Straczynski is a brilliant writer, clever writer. It seems to be a bottomless pool of stories that he manages to put together, and I love this story. It certainly works for the animated.
This is Commander Jeffrey Sinclair of Babylon 5. We are under attack and evacuating all hands.
JMS is Babylon 5. It's his dream. It's his baby. It's his wonderful space opera that he created. These characters live in his head. I'm thrilled that he's involved.
No one knows those characters or that universe that they inhabit better than Joe does.
JMS is really the foundation for it.
He's the man behind the curtain, but in our case, he's a real wizard.
I'm just saying, you shouldn't have challenged me.
He wrote 99.9% of the scripts for the series.
Watching the show, they have the name credits come on, and it's a TV show, so there's going to be a series of writers. And after a while, it's like J. Michael Straczynski, J. Michael Straczynski, J. Michael Straczynski. And I'm like, my God, did this guy do everything on this show? I knew he worked with animation before.
It was really helpful because he understood sort of what we could and couldn't do, what was asking too much, where things were getting too big. And I think he was writing for that, taking that into consideration. And that was a huge benefit to us.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Doesn't matter. No time to waste.
My work in animation goes back to the early Cretaceous period. I started off in He-Man and She-Ra and Real Ghostbusters. In terms of the script, I brought those animation skills to bear in terms of structuring the storyline so that it wouldn't overtax people.
Too late.
And it informed the animation process from a directorial point of view to a certain small extent by virtue of talking about what angles you're using, what kind of shots you're using, how they're entering and leaving the room. Things you wouldn't normally put into a live action script but are very important in animation to show how the shots are connected and how the action works.
Here they come. Form up. Alpha Squad, watch your 6.
Here we had a chance to really show the B5 universe in its totality. And the great thing about working with Warner's Animation was that I said to them, what kind of boundaries should I look at in terms of sets and locations and action? And they said, just write what you want to write. And if we feel you've gone too far or we can't afford it, we'll reel you back in again. And I did that and it turned it in. They said, it's fine. No cuts, no changes, and we shot basically the first draft. It was great because there were no limitations. The whole universe is there to explore.
Delenn!
John!
Run! Run!
It was great having those who are still with us part of the cast. We have lost a number of actors, and before I actually began the writing process, I sent an email to all the casts who were still with us to say, look, this is an option. We could do this story for the fans, but if there's anyone here who is uncomfortable with working with, even voice-wise, an actor representing your fallen friend, if that would be too emotional for you or if it felt uncomfortable for you, we will not do this. If everyone says yes, we'll do it. But every single one of them said, yes, we want to do this, we want to do this for the fans. It's a tribute and memorial to all the cast who are no longer with us.
We wanted to make sure that the original actors were back and that they could breathe life to these characters just like they did in the original series.
You know me, or a version of me.
I think many actors will agree with me. Sometimes it's even better when you come back later because it's marinated. I know this girl inside and out, and she's still there. So I was so grateful that that was the case, that Lita just came forward.
It is a little like riding a bike.
Dr. Franklin, good. I have a rather ugly growth that needs to be removed.
Londo, he was a very strong character. He is impressed on me. I think that was one of the things the audience liked about watching my performance in the Centauri, and maybe all of ours, that they could see that we were having a great time. And that's what it felt like going back into the recording studio.
Why are you always so hostile?
I'm not hostile, just relentlessly self-aware.
I hired the top-notch voice actor / coach in Houston, and I spent an afternoon with him in his studio, and he had a loop of Lockleaf from before, and I just spoke into his mic over and over until all the little lines and lights aligned perfectly. So I'm a little bit OCD about that.
Lanier.
It was like putting on an old blue jean jacket.
I want it on the record. I did not touch him.
As soon as I called him up, he swam to the surface and was very happy to be there, especially without me having to go through the multi-hour process of gluing foam rubber to my head and my face and my neck and all of that.
That's fair.
Your people don't know who I am. They won't fight for me, but they'll fight for you. I'll get it done.
Bruce did an amazing job. He was central to virtually every single scene. It never escapes himself. In the scene where he finally meets himself, he had to play both the early version of himself and the later version of himself, and he managed to pull that off in the attitude, which is remarkable.
Good morning. This just gets better and better. Alternate realities. Of course there'd be an alternate me. I read the script, and I got to figure out my contemporary voice and then the younger guy. It's not a lot. It's got to be somewhat subtle, you know, but my voice, I'm 72 now. It's a lot different than when I was 43, I think, when I joined the show. Their ships are circling the station right in the blast range. We blow the core. We can take out all of them and buy time for help to arrive.
Joe and Bruce were talking. Generally, I'm a little bit more involved in the voice records, but with Joe there, with so many of these actors and him having the relationship, I want him to be more involved. He knows what Sheridan needs to sound like. Bruce knows what Sheridan needs to sound like.
Now in this thing, maybe it is mouth open and absolute awe or silence.
It was just great to see them interact again. You could tell everybody was genuinely happy to be back in these roles.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
This is Commander Susan Ivanova, Babylon 5.
Claudia, I knew, wanted to come back and be that person, be that eccentric, funny, doer, Russian point of view.
I've often said that a lot of her qualities reside inside me. And the dialogue is always a joy to perform because she's stoic with a little bit of snarkiness, with a little bit of discipline.
Get to the shuttles. I'll run things from here. That's an order! Go!
Yet she's fallible, she's vulnerable. She's everything you want a character to be. She's not one-noted. So for me, as an actress, it's always a joy to put on Ivanova's shoes.
Everyone really brought their A game.
If they die, we die. You die!
You look like someone in need of a friend. Friend?
I must say that those who were hired to do Jakar and to do Garibaldi and others understood the gravity of what they were being asked to do, to revive these performances as a tribute to the actors.
Come home to me, John. I'm here, John. I'm here.
Mira Furlan was such a fantastic actress. She brought so much into this role that stepping into this role behind her, the best I can do is just hold on for the ride. She brings such a poise and a dignity and then this sly humor to the character.
All socks are lucky socks because at the rate you lose them, you're lucky to have any at all.
I just had to really watch her move and watch her talk, and the character just stay on the path that she forged. Don't stray from the track. Prayed to God that I was able to bring the proper homage to her work.
Look, whoever you are, if there was anybody named Zathras living on Epsilon 3, or a great machine, we'd know about it by now. Paying tribute, I think, is what I would like to do most of all. I'm not playing Michael Garibaldi. I'm stepping into the void left by Jerry Doyle. And that is really what I wanted to do. This is his character. He was and is forever will be Michael Garibaldi. And I just wanted to do justice to the character so that hopefully Jerry can kind of live again, if you will. That's going to be the surreal thing, I think, for a lot of people is, wait, what? And just getting to be with these characters again.
We didn't want it to feel like it was impersonations. We didn't want someone to just be doing a Jakar voiceover sound-alike. We wanted to make sure that the actors that we cast actually had the spirit as well, and that really understood the character.
I told you I had him in my sights. Freezing his neurons was quite unnecessary.
It's not something I took lightly. It starts with the voice because at first, I just want to hear that you're able to capture something of the tonality of what the character was, and then you can start to refine that.
He's so joyful in this scene. A true artist.
I think it's really hard to slip into someone else's shoes like that. What Andreas did was so unique for a character like this. It was everything, an anti-hero and a hero and everything in between. But what was great is that while that's a huge challenge, I also had this incredible thing to pull from.
Do not fear. We will get it done.
There are many different faces of Jakar. There is the angry Jakar, who's filled with vengeance. This is a guy who saw his father tortured to death. And then, there's this light, fun-loving Jakar. It's right in here. And he loves hard. And he cherishes the difference between people.
We will stand with you.
I'll still run with you.
That too.
He has that thing that I think we all have, which is we become sort of overtaken by our emotions, and then we pause, and we're able to sort of bring ourselves into a place where we're thinking rather than acting.
Destruction and hate are easy, which is why they do not endure.
But I hope that I was able to grab that, pay homage to this character that this guy created, but then also maybe adapt it a little bit so that it grows with the way that this story is growing.
Every single one of them just nailed it beautifully, magnificently. It was important to put a dedication at the end of the show to say that these are our friends, our co-workers, our family who are no longer with us anymore. And this could not exist without them. As much as it's a tribute to them in the performance, it's important to go one more step and say, this is dedicated to their memory.
It has been an honor to fight beside you.
The future is all around us, waiting in moments of transition, to be born in moments of revelation. Surely, this is just such a moment.
It was already an established universe, and there's something really great about having the richness of that entire world, that universe, and being able to come in and be able to play with all that stuff.
Good thing about how much amazing progress has been done in animation, particularly the 3D animation used here, it feels like the original show.
We definitely wanted to have it have the appearance of traditional animation, or 2D. That was something that was really important to us. But we also wanted to incorporate all the 3D artwork that we're able to do. And 3D is so liberating because you get to be able to manipulate ships and move things around, and the camera can go all sorts of different directions. And that's a liberating thing.
We need to get up close and personal. Follow me in.
J. Michael Straczynski was just unbelievably supportive. He wanted to be a guide to us and offer any kind of help that we could use. And so he was always available for us on any kind of question.
These characters are his creation. He wrote so much of it, and he's going to know everything about this universe.
He was encouraging to let us explore and make the movie that we wanted. So there wasn't kind of an overbearing presence. It was actually a very nurturing one.
I wanted to be precious in a way of protecting his vision, but I didn't want to get stymied in a way by the past. Well, let's go in and see if we sort of modernize some of these ships and pitch them to Joe and see how he feels about streamlining some things and tweaking some designs.
Wasn't sure about it at first, but I think it grows on you.
The show was in the 90s, so we had a whole slew of different ships to work from and different designs. We wanted to update it, but at the same time, we didn't want anything to step on anything that was done previously.
Matt and Rick would run past me various designs on the environments and the ships, and they were free to play. Look at the station. Can it be upgraded? Can it be changed? Can it be more interesting? And kind of look at the Starfears. We want it to be similar enough to the show to be recognizable, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with improving things. And the B5 station now looks infinitely better than it ever did in the course of the show.
We have to get out of here. They're coming through.
The ships in the show look amazing. They are so true to what we had in the first place, but again, taken to the next level.
He was always trying to push us to make something that would look beautiful like the original show, but also have a depth and a scale that they couldn't attain.
Oh my God.
He actually wanted us to take those chances and sort of modernize and streamline. And it was so easy to work with him, so seamless. I shouldn't say I was amazed, but it could have gone another way, and it didn't.
Which is the best kind of collaboration you can ask for. It's like somebody who is creative, who gives you the foundation of everything you want, but then also takes the leash off and says, okay, go to town. Let's see what you guys can do with it.
I don't need an interstellar alliance. I don't need the stars or any of the worlds spinning around them. I only need you, Delenn. You're my universe.
Matt and Rick, what I told them early on, in terms of the actors and recreating that, to really look at reference material from the original show and try and recapture the magic of that.
I watched a lot of Babylon 5 making this movie, that's for sure.
We wanted to make sure that our characters look like the actual actors themselves.
First, we have to establish the style. Once we know this is the style that we're shooting for, then we have to sort of take Bruce and be like, how do we adapt him into that?
Hi, me. It's me.
It was just a bunch of artists, trial and error, just trying to figure out his proportions and how to simplify it in a way that it feels like it sits in our world.
We wanted to make sure that not only did the characters move correctly for the movie, we also wanted them to move like the actors themselves. We wanted to get gestures and mannerisms.
At least we have a good view of the show, eh, Sheridan?
Londo is a very aristocratic kind of character, has a certain posture about him. And so we made sure in the storyboards that carried forth. We were lucky enough to work with the actors in person, so we were able to watch them and to see what kind of performance they were able to do and just inspire us. If they punched the air when they said something, we would do that in the boards as well. We make sure that that would come into the animation. Whatever the actors gave us, we transfer that into the movie itself.
It's striking, it's beautiful, characters are vivid. Matt did an amazing job on the directing. I could not be happier.
Do you know what a last stand is?
Yes.
Good. Because you just joined one.
I wanted to explore different ways that the story could have unfolded.
This is Earth Alliance Station Babylon 5. They're all over the place.
So let me try different timelines, different environments, go back into the past, go into the future, and ultimately reboot the story.
So even though she dies a couple of times in the script, she's still alive and ready for more adventures.
I love this character. As long as he keeps writing, I'll show up.
Now get the hell out of our galaxy!
I hope we do more of those, and I hope it continues to grow.
Playing Lanier without the makeup was great. I would look forward to doing that over and over again.
It was really good to be back home on the station.
Godspeed, John.
Babylon 5 gets to be introduced to a new generation.
I already have stories worked out for more episodes of this down the road. We now have the mileage to go out to create a whole new storyline, a whole new legacy, a whole new history of Babylon 5.
Babylon 5 is back online, and we're here to stay.